Did you know Darren before going into the event and Variety's top 10 list came out? Did you know of him?
No, I did not know about him.
Okay. And then what was the first time you guys actually at least exchanged a hello or even said anything?
At the award ceremony that took place on Friday
Hmm.
at Just for Laughs.
It was at the spot where like I've kind of heard like where he insulted Dolce, and was that kind of it?
No,
Okay,
that
okay,
was Saturday morning.
okay.
So, no, sorry, what am I saying? Wednesday. Sorry, okay, so
No problem.
Thursday was the award ceremony.
Hmm.
Friday was was the conversation with Dulce. But Thursday we did like an award ceremony where they like called us on stage and they gave
Hmm.
us awards, and you'll be able to see like I have a picture where I'm like standing next to him,
Okay, okay.
after they gave us the award. So there was never any ire or none whatsoever. I mean, I didn't know his work, and you know, um, we're all busy doing our own thing. So I don't
Hmm.
like I don't take it personal when someone doesn't know my work, and that's just how it is.
Right.
So the next day we were all sitting waiting for the panel to start, and he just started asking Dulce some questions, and she was just like kind of she was responding to him, but it's just a laugh. Like for those who don't know,
Hmm.
you're up till like 4 a.m. every night.
Hmm.
Like you get up the next day, you're like sluggish. So when you're about to do a panel, it's not like you want to be doing a panel backstage either. You feel me?
Hilarious.
so
Okay, okay.
so she was just kind of like answering his questions because he was like, "Oh, do you do content?" She's like, "Nah, I don't actually. I just I'm a comedian, but I don't create like web content." And he was like, "Oh, so are you excited?" And she was like, "For what?" And he just got really offended at her saying, "For what?" And was like, "Well, I guess you don't have to be excited for anything because you're already on TV. Everybody knows who you are, right? Right?"
Oh wow. Okay.
And so I was like, "What's happening right now?" And he was like, "No, I'm trying to talk to her. I'm trying to engage her. She's acting like she's too good to talk." And I was like, "Who the fuck are you talking to, B?"
Hmm. Hmm.
And because I'm of the mind, like, if you come at one black woman in the room, you've come at all of us.
For sure.
So that's just kind of
It
like
seemed
my
like it was
mode.
undermining, is what you alluded
One
to.
thousand percent.
Yeah.
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 And so I was like, "Yo, you need to chill." She was like, "I'm just answering your questions, and you acting up. So like, you need to relax." So then they call us to go to the panel, and when we stand up to go to the panel, he makes another snide comment that sets both of us off, and we're like, "Yo, who the fuck is this person right here? Like, why are you acting out of pocket?" And he's like, "No, because y'all think you all better than me, and you think you can say what you want. You need to understand that when you're spoken to, you need to engage people who are trying to engage you." I'm like, "If you don't shut the fuck up," like, you know
Wow.
what I mean? It's just like it was so like I won't even lie to you. The fact that it was coming from a white man made it
Hmm.
even more insult to injury
For sure.
because it's again along the lines of like, how dare you not give me the attention I asked for?
Mm. Hmm.
And then you're telling us we're rude. And
Hmm.
it's like, we're chilling. We're
Right.
chilling, but because we're not responding in the way that you want, it's an issue. So when we got out to the
Hmm.
panel, one of the questions was about just kind of like what the origins of our comedy is, and I had mentioned that it comes from being a kid and whatnot, but also just the fact that I'm a black person in America, and
Hmm.
we have to manage our frustrations and our angers and our and the dealings with discrimination in a number of ways, and humor is one of those ways, which is why I'm always making it clear that I'm not here for racists,
For sure.
when I perform. And when the mic got to him, he was like, "Well, comedy is not about attacking racists, and if that's what you're doing at your show, then you are ostracizing your audience."
Okay.
And there was a pause. There was a quiet that came over the crowd, and I was like, "You don't want to do this today, bruh. You really don't. You don't want to do this today."
Right.
And so that was that. And at the end of the panel, and then all of us had our own responses to that, right?
Hmm.
Over the course of the conversation. And then he like bolted out of there. And because of his antagonizing remarks made to Dulce backstage and then to me as well, and then because of what he said on stage, they were like, you know what, we're going to make some adjustments to tonight's program. So he was made to go last on the program because they didn't want him having to interact with us.
Oh wow!
Because he had made it clear that like he just wasn't, he wasn't on the team.
Right.
So fast forward, he gets there and says some antagonizing shit to Dulce. The minute he gets there, then he goes on stage, and I was standing on by the side of the stage while he was performing, and I mean, he just proceeded to, there are bombs, but man, this was atomic.
What's his material? I heard like
he doesn't have material. He doesn't have material, so he spent the first 2 minutes talking about how thankful he was that Variety included him on the list, and this wasn't an exception.
Right.
This is a showcase. This is a stand-up showcase.
Yeah.
And all of us are stand-up comedians, so when we came on stage, we told jokes. We did our set.
Mm-hmm.
And so he then realized, I guess, that wasn't really working. So then he tried to tell some jokes, but they didn't really hit. I mean, I guess he has this bit that he does of Southern Mama, but he didn't even do that. Like, he just attempted to try and, like, tell jokes like,
right.
Don't y'all know about, and then he resorted to talking about IBS, and, that's like a telltale sign. When you land a shit joke, like, oh, man.
Yeah.
You kind of...
It's like you're trying to... Yeah.
You're really struggling, right? And then I guess he felt like, you know what, this is my time, so let me, like, take it to say what I want to say. And even though he did not use his full 10 minutes of stage time, which to anybody who's reading this knows that as a comic is, like, insanity, he then proceeded to say, I want to thank y'all for having me, but, all the comics, the folks that came before me, they're talking about race and sexual orientation and sexism, and that has nothing to do with comedy. Comedy is about making people laugh. But there's no rule that says that using your comedy platform to address social commentary and change is wrong.
Right. Now, when I saw like his it was you added some extra layers into it when you were recording him and you laughed, and the vibe I got off of it was like watching the bully get their butt whooped.
Yes.
And that's like
exactly
the storyline that I've gotten out of this. And I think you were on Instagram trying to explain that to where it was like, yo, this dude was the one that was provoking a lot of things, and he got his butt whooped.
Yeah, he was the only one provoking. He was 100%.
Was that what that laugh was? Like, just like...
Yes. 1,000%. That laugh was like, ha ha, you're on the jail.
Right. Right.
It was just like, you then spent the last day antagonizing everybody on here, and you thought you was going to come out here and disrespect all of the comics that came before you, and instead what you got was booed, which I find hilarious.
Yeah.
And furthermore, it's just another example of, somebody in the Trump sector of things getting a position that they don't deserve simply because there's this overarching thought process that says, well, we need to represent them too. And it's not valid.
Yeah. What I thought was really cool, when you spoke about you and Dolce being two black women, and for Chris Redd to step up, and I think that was because he's getting a lot of love, like from like comments, and people really appreciated that. But I think that was dope to see a black man to kind of come and put himself out there. Did you kind of take it in that light, or did you see him as just a comrade? He's getting.
I saw him doing what he should be doing.
For sure.
It'd be nice if others considered that to be like. I know that Chris didn't look at it like, you know what? Let me step up for these black women. Yeah. I know him. Yeah. He didn't look at it like that. He looked at it like, this is what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And
I saw like a lot of, but upon the story, and the story is still like picking up, but I feel like a lot of stand-ups, I was kind of like getting entertained by people like stand-up comedians comments about it. It feels like they really, I don't know, like the internet guy trying to step into their lane is quite interesting. There's a lot of people that are, I guess,
because it ain't the same.
Yeah.
It ain't the same. I ain't saying it's wrong, but it ain't the same. You know, when you're doing jokes in the internet medium, it is not the same as standing on stage and telling jokes to an audience. And it should not be there shouldn't be this false equivalency created. You know, there should be a variety, you know, top 10 stand-up comedians to watch and a variety top 10 digital comedians to watch. It is a different medium because the reality is that there's a number of comics who don't have the skill set to make internet digital content.
True.
That's fair, you know, but I know those of us who consider ourselves stand-ups, like, it's not taken lightly. You know, this is not like an easy medium. This is, basically, generally speaking, people consider stand-up the hardest art form out there.
For sure.
So I don't think it's fair to, like, try and diminish it by just, quote-unquote, being inclusive in a way that's irresponsible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know. You know, my personal take is I just think it's more responsibility with those on the back end of things.
Yeah, of course.
To make those decisions and really be in tune with the culture, but that could be a whole.
But it's also, like I said, it's a irresponsible inclusivity.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the goal here? You know, because he's not pushing the culture forward.
Especially, yeah. It's quite interesting. Okay.
And the reality is if you look at his Instagram and you look at his Facebook, like, and you properly vet him, you see that he is actually a danger to the comedy community, because the comedy community, for the most part, is about, you know, you have to have a certain level of intellect to get this shit off.
For sure.
You know? And anybody who's on their Instagram and their Facebook touting BET is racist and Maxine and saying that Maxine Waters is a waste of time, and that Roseanne should never have been that she just made an inappropriate tweet and she should not have been fired. Anybody pushing that clearly ain't on it.
Yeah.
That's why I felt it necessary to put up the video again today showing his post. Because then you have people who are like, well, he's just a comic who had a bad set. What?
Right. So there's like more of an undertone of like what he represents, like in general.
It's multi-layered.
Yeah.
It's multi-layered because he said what he said because it's driven by bigotry and discrimination.
Right. Go
ahead.
And
on top of that, the even bigger insult was you got stage time and you ain't even funny.
That was a big. I think the biggest response from the stand-ups. Like, they're busting their butt to get there, and this dude is kind of like,
for why? There's no valid reason. You know, Chris hosted the showcase, but he should have been in that list.
Oh wow, I didn't even peep that. So Chris wasn't even part of the crew.
No.
Yeesh. Okay.
Yeesh.
I can. Oof. I can. That puts a little bit more
exactly.
layers of like why he felt, why we got that emotion out of him too. Yeah. Damn.
I know for me it was just dope that I got to videotape somebody instead of me being the one, because you know I be out here being Green Beret.
Yeah, I was. Everybody know he wasn't the one letting the clip loose.
Everybody know.
Everybody know. I think that was the joy of like you got to be spectator and
it
just
was great.
chill.
Like, look at my people.
You sat there and bombed the whole time and decided about what comedy is? Oh, lucky. Have a good night. Also, you gotta get a new hairstyle. Lucky, boy.
Just wash your hair.